the word for it, or like the condition, is called essential tremor. I think it's such like a weird name for a condition.
Essential.
What's so essential about it? I hate that it's got the word essential in it. And then people also abbreviate it to ET, and that makes me think of that alien, which I really hate.
Oh no, I hate that thing. That's terrible. Good morning, art friends. I'm here with Patches this morning because if I come around here, someone needed his booty trimming. Occasionally, the hair can get a bit matted near their grease glands, and it can be a little bit uncomfortable for him. Now, he hasn't shown any signs of being uncomfortable, but we do like clean and tidy butts in this house, don't we, dear? And you've been so well. I gave him a little snack, and he's been such a superstar while I've been doing that. I'm so proud of you. Oh, hold on a second. I didn't realise. We have an audience. Hello, sweetheart. Your butt's always in tip-top condition, though. You never need help with yours, do you?
I was just cleaning the bathroom, guys, and I realised I've got a little friend. I haven't seen a ladybug in ages. Look at it. We got a lot of spots. When I was a kid, we would say the number of spots is how old it is. So you must be ancient for a ladybug. Oh my god.
Hello, art friends. Oh my god, right. I feel like I'm always thanking you because you guys are so great. I have now sold 200 copies of Dogs with Jobs, the colouring book. Is that insane? 200 copies? That's nuts. So thank you. I wanted to say thank you. I put on my cat shirt to say thank you. You know I'm frightened of cats. This is a big deal for me, okay? So thank you guys. I'm gonna be working on Una next, and I think because Dogs with Jobs did so well, I might work on either a sequel after doing Una, or I might do a colouring book that's guinea pig themed, just because, you know, I love guinea pigs as well. So that's what I'm thinking. But that's going to be way in the future. But I just wanted to say thank you. It's so sweet, and I'm so shocked in the best possible way. I was doing the spring cleaning, and I came across these. I don't really collect games very much, but as you guys know, I'm a big fan of like Akira Toriyama's art, and he did a lot of the character designs for Dragon Quest. He did, yeah. But the thing is that through his work and stuff like this, in my opinion, you know, he'll carry on living for like decades and decades because he made such an impact. But the main reason that I got these is that it was like a lot that was really cheap, and I was like, oh my god, Akira Toriyama art, that's amazing. Isn't it adorable? Like, his character designs are like so iconic, like you know it's him, like straight away. Sometimes it's nice just to get these out and just look at it and be like, I want to make cool art like that too.
Hi, art friends.
Hello!
It's me, I'm back.
We're in front of the bookcase, so you know that's real talk. It's become like the real talk segment, so what do you want to talk about, dear?
Okay, so recently I have been trying to be a bit braver and coming out my shell and talking a bit more about disability kind of content.
That's true, yes.
And last time when I was talking about things, I was drawing at the same time, but I find that that's okay for sort of like a casual chatty thing, but I feel like for something that's like as important as like disability stuff.
You want to get it out concise, yeah.
Yeah, because my brain's gonna be like half scrambled up. I'm gonna record like these two things separate, and
that's
then we can try and like edit it together. But yeah, get comfortable, grab a cup of tea if you've got one. If you do, I'm jealous of you.
I got you iced tea. What are you
Oh,
talking about?
can you pass that off?
Yeah.
Remember Doodles and Tea? That was a series we had on the channel. But this is a Nestea forest fruit flavour.
That's so good. If you've never tried that, guys, Nestea is amazing. In my opinion, what do you guys think? Nestea is better than Lipton. It's so good.
So, I wanted to talk about my tremor. I don't know if you can tell just like from this video alone, but I do have a tremor in my hands. And there's a few different types of tremors that actually exist, and depending on what type that you have, it can be like a sign of like the condition that you have. So for example, when I'm sat like completely still, my hands then don't shake. I'm completely like fine.
Well, that's good, that's good.
But when I'm in like motion and I'm moving, that's when like my tremor becomes like more prevalent. Also, like if I try and keep still,
you do struggle. Yeah, arms out. Yeah, it might have been more noticeable in videos prior to you getting medication for it.
it's such like a complicated topic, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it, because I did kind of touch on it in an older video, which I will link up above, but this was prior to me having more like doctor follow-up, so I have a bit more information since then.
Yes.
So basically, my doctor said that because I've got a tremor that happens that when I'm in motion and not when I'm at rest, they reckon that tremors that happen when you're at rest can be a bit more serious, and that can be linked to things like Parkinson's disease.
Yes.
So it doesn't look like it's anything like that, luckily. They reckon that it's like a neurological problem.
Okay.
So basically, the word for it, or like the condition, is called essential tremor. I think it's such like a weird name for a condition.
Essential.
What's so essential about it? I hate that it's got the word essential in it. And then people also abbreviate it to ET, and that makes me think of that alien, which I really hate.
Oh no, I hate that thing. That's terrible.
Yeah, so whenever I do find like communities of people talking about it, they're like, oh, how does your ET affect you? And I always just see that alien.
Can't we call it like Steph shakies or something cute
Steph
like that?
shakies. I think one of the reasons that I get kind of shy opening up and talking about having like a tremor as well is that the majority of people who have this condition tend to be like much older than me. It seems to be like 70s onwards. So I know that this isn't maybe like the most relatable of videos for me to be making.
But this is kind of like therapy for Steph, being able to talk about
it's nice for me to be able to explain like what's going on with my body, at least to like my own understanding.
And people care about you too.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you for caring about me. But there has been like the odd occasional person who's been like, oh my god, I've noticed this thing going on with like my hands, or I've also got like a tremor going on, and what kind of treatments are there that are available and stuff. So I thought it would be nice to share the information that I have, because I feel like this isn't like readily available information that's like easy to know. It's not like school teaches you what to look out for with tremors.
God, no.
So basically, essential tremor, I think it means that there's like a piece of like my brain that like miscommunicates, and it's sort of going like, and it makes my hands.
Oh,
it's like my brain's going, so my hands also
so like caught in a loop kind of thing.
Yeah, you know, kind of like how Tourette's makes people have sort of like tics.
Tics, that's right.
It's almost like a tic that like I can't control, but it's a tremor instead of like a tic or the urge to say something. I think Tourette's is also like a neurological like condition.
I personally have no idea.
But I don't know like how closely related or whatever they are to that, so feel free to disregard my information.
You're always so supportive with this stuff, so yeah, chime in if you do know anything.
So for a long time I was going for I've got so many different health condition things, and every time I go to like a new doctor's appointment, they either find something else or something else that gets like revealed to me, and I'm like, okay, so that's like an extra little cake sprinkle on top of the diagnosis. Like... From the previous video, you might know I've got a wonky wrist and it points in the different direction. So
you've been back and forth with that.
Yeah, I've been back and forth to tons of doctors. Each one referred me to a new specialist, so I went to like a wrist specialist, and then the wrist specialist said like, oh, this is more specialist than what I can deal with, so I'll refer you to like a more specialist. We travelled
to a different city that had another specialist.
Yeah, it kept going up to about like 8 people who've re-referred us for like
because they're not sure,
they're not entirely certain what's happening. Although I do kind of have like some news about that, which I haven't talked about, and I think it's just because it scared me. That's kind of the recurring theme of anything like health related. I learn it and then my anxiety goes, I don't like this, I'm just going to avoid it and pretend it doesn't exist. But I have had a long time to sort of process some of these feelings, so I thought I kind of owe it to the people in the last video when I said like, oh, I'll do a follow-up if I have any information, because there are people on that video who keep coming back and saying, do you have any information? Yeah. I'd like to know, because I also struggle with this, and I'm like, I do have information, I'm just taking my sweet time on following up on the internet.
But it's helping you, and now it's helping other people, which is a very sweet thing.
So basically, my wrist, been to like a ton of referrals, and we didn't know at first if like the tremor was related to like the wrist injury, because I had a fractured wrist when I was about like 10 years old. They've done x-rays on my wrist, and basically one of the things that they noticed is that the tremor is also in this hand, which has never been injured, and it also kind of like occurs in my legs. I feel a bit like unsteady when I'm on my feet because the tremors, like, it's not when I'm standing still, but like I said, whenever I'm like in motion, I can feel my legs shivering a bit.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, it can affect people all in like very different ways. One of the most common things that I've noticed that people assume with me is that I'm nervous, which, to be honest, a lot of the time I am. I'm a very anxious person.
Yeah, bless you. Oh.
There's been a few occasions sometimes where, like, nurses especially are like, oh my god, you poor little sked, like a petal, come over here, it's gonna be fine, do you want me to hold your hand? And I'm like, okay, I might be a little bit nervous, but I'm not that nervous.
Yeah, exactly. When you had your COVID jab, a lady
Yes.
came over and held her hand. She was like, it's gonna be okay, dear.
And I said to her, I've got a tremor, and then this nurse was just laughing so much because she was like, oh my god, you were like the most traumatized looking patient I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, no, I've just got a neurological condition, my brain's just making me do this. Before I forget as well, it's not the same condition that I have, but there is an artist I found who, long before I actually was diagnosed with a tremor, I discovered that he had a tremor, and I watched like a little documentary thing about him. And when I got diagnosed with my tremor, I remembered this artist, and I only just recently discovered like his name, which I've stored in my phone, which I'll have to get and put up on screen. But it just felt so important to me that prior to being diagnosed with this, I'd seen someone that I'd admired who had a tremor, because I feel like, especially as an artist, it can be scary feeling like, you know, the entirety of like my self-worth and my career is on like how well my hands can produce an image. So seeing someone who was like someone that I look up to, I think that was like such an inspirational thing. So I really want people to know his name, because sadly I think he's passed away now from the condition that he had. But I'd love for more people to know about this artist, because I even managed to lose him for a really long time, and I'm just so pleased that I managed to find him again. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'd love to share a bunch of like his artwork and like his name and stuff. I just feel like sharing his story is an important one.
And sharing yours too. Yeah, absolutely.
Like we were saying, a ton of specialists, and I got another specialist to basically look over at my wrist, and they want to refer me for an MRI. From the x-ray that they took of my wrist, they said that they can see where it was like broken when I was like a child, and it hasn't like 100% like healed over. There's like a
hairline crack or something.
Yeah, there's some kind of like a mark on like my bone where something's happened to it previously. And their way of like explaining it to me was that the way that it's healed from like this accident is that one of my bones in like my forearm is longer than the other, and that's why it's pulling like my wrist.
Oh, because it's like at an angle then. Yeah.
Yeah, one's like literally shorter or longer than the other. And they were saying that the only way really to correct it, but they need to do an MRI first to, you know, double check what's going on with my wrist. I'm sorry that this isn't 100% like tremor related, it's because like my wrist is tied to my tremor and it all, but I thought you might appreciate the update anyway. So they were saying what they think that they need to do is to either cut down one of the bones so it's shorter so that they can both be the same size, or lengthen one of my other bones.
Yeah, like it basically go in and break it to fix it. But there is a problem with that, isn't there?
Yeah, the bad news is that they reckon there's like a 30% success rate or something with the surgery. They were like, it's really painful, and for most people it like falls apart. I'm just like, but I work as an artist, what am I gonna do? And they're like, honestly, the best functioning your wrist might ever be is like the way it is at the moment, and taking a gamble on like something like a surgery. So you can probably see why I don't like talking about it, because I'm an artist and that's supposed to be my career.
Yeah, because there's the option that it could work, but it's only 30%.
Well, the odds are stacked against me, the odds are it's not going to work, so I don't really see that as much of an option.
No, I mean, you can only choose it for yourself. I personally wouldn't do it because I don't like the odds. But it's entirely up to you then.
It's like gambling on danger mode.
Exactly, yeah.
So I've been feeling a bit upset about that, because like ever since I was a kid it was always my dream to be like an artist and someone who can create things with like the hands.
And you do, and you do.
I do make things with like my hands and stuff, but I have like much shorter time limits that I can do things compared to like most people. If I was ever to get like a proper art industry job, which I have had offered to me in the past, but I just don't think I have like the health to keep up
Like
with
the wrist, like the wrist stamina.
Yeah, because you'd have to be able to draw for like 8 hours
a day,
and
every
I
day.
wouldn't be able to do that. So that's something that's kind of sucky.
And why we appreciate your guys' support, that she's able to do this.
Yeah, the fact that you're able to support like any of my little endeavours in like little books that I create, or I've got gumroad brushes, we've also got Redbubble merchandise, or just watching these videos, or like our Patreon. There's so many different little things that I've got online. Other treatment options, because I haven't fully been through all those. I am on medication at the moment, which is, it's like a blood pressure medication that I'm on, and basically what it does is that it super lowers my heart rate. So Adam's got like one of those really fancy like smart watches where you can like monitor like what your heart rate's constantly doing. And previously my heart rate was constantly racing at like 120.
You were in
like,
the hundreds all
even
the
at
time.
resting, it, like my heart was acting like I was running even though I wasn't running. So they were like, oh well, this will also help with that. So now my heart rate, we tested it out, and it's like so low, it's like I'm basically like asleep all day. My heart rate's like so low now.
You're one mellow mama these days.
I am, like, even if you really try and freak me out, it'll be a challenge for me to like really get myself amped up. So that's one thing that my medication does. But what it does is that it helps slow down the tremor of my body, because it's basically put like my body almost like to sleep. So
just slows everything down.
I'm a bit more mellowed out than I am in some of our older videos. My tremor was pretty bad.
Oh yeah, because people had mentioned it in the past, and you know, we appreciate you looking out for Steph, but back then she just wasn't comfortable to address it until now.
To talk about it properly, yeah. So some of the bad things that you get is that people presume that like you're really anxious. Or one of the ones that I really hate is when people presume that you're on some kind of like drugs or stimulant. I get where it comes from, but it would just be nice if people were a bit more open-minded to health conditions that can cause these things, so that you don't always jump to thinking that it's some kind of like addiction problem.
What Steph's saying to the world is educate yourself and don't assume.
Well, I also don't want to shame people who do have like addiction problems, but that's just not what I'm fighting. So like treatment options, there's the medication that I'm on. They can trial you on like a bunch of different medications, and there's also different varying amounts of like these medications. So I'm actually on one of the lower ends of these. I was on a higher one previously, but I was having like, I'm one of those lucky people who gets side effects from
You were having a really hard time with those, yeah.
And the side effect that I was getting from the blood pressure medication was hallucinations, which are so freaky if you have ever experienced anything like that before. Typically, they mostly happened when I was like getting tired, or when
when you were getting drowsy or waking up.
Yeah, around that time. Like one of the scariest, this could probably be like a whole thing, but one of the scariest hallucinations I probably had was that I saw a fire in the bedroom that was next to me. And one of the things that I know to logically do is that sometimes I can see something and I have to like interact with it. So my instinct is to touch the fire.
Oh god!
This was in the old house. When I touched out to reach it, there wasn't actually a fire there. So my hand's like, I'm putting my hand through a fire right now and this isn't hot. So then my brain clicked and it's like,
it's not really there.
This isn't really here or whatever. So I got to go back to like my doctor and I was like, look, this is doing some weird things to like my brain, which I guess it makes sense. It's a neurological problem, so it's going to be doing something or other.
I'm sure like people will agree that when you're on medications, a lot of the time it is trial and error, regardless of what it's for.
Yeah, so they lowered like my dose rate on it, and now it's less severe when it happens. And
plus I'm around all the time with you as well, so you
Yeah.
can get a second opinion like, is the house on fire? No dear. No, we're good.
yeah, so that's been like a whole thing. I went to a GP appointment. Sadly, this was during like peak COVID time, so Adam wasn't allowed to come into my appointment with me.
No.
I like having Adam there because I feel like he can retain some of the information a bit better than me, because sometimes when people are saying all these things and there's like words, conditions I've never heard of, and they're like motor skills, blah 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 blah. I'm like,
Steph's ADHD goes to her happy place.
well, they gave me a little leaflet which I sadly don't have with me anymore. That was probably the avoidance. I think I probably threw it away. I think I was just like, this looks scary, I'm gonna throw it away. I was talking about how you can trial like a bunch of different like medications, and if one doesn't work for you, you can try another one. These medications can kind of lose like effectiveness like over time, so eventually one that's working well for you, you might have to amp up the dosage. It seems to be a common thing that people talk about in ET groups.
Can we not call it?
I know, I hate it. So one of like the final options that they actually give you for treatment, and it horrifies me. In fact, I'm just gonna have like a little skip button on screen, like if this is too icky, because I don't like hearing about it. I didn't even want to talk about this.
Yeah, if you find stuff like that, go skip to the time on screen right now.
Basically, because it's like a neurological condition, there's a thing called, I think it's shortened to something like DBS, which I think stands for like deep brain stimulation.
I think so.
They install some kind of like a device that has like an antenna in your brain, but they have to fit it while you're actually still awake.
While you're conscious,
you can't do it,
yeah,
like,
they have
while
to.
you're
Yeah.
unconscious, which sounds so many levels of horrifying to me. Shout out if there's anyone in the comments who's actually had that surgery done, because
You are brave.
yeah, there's some people who've had it and they've had like great outcome results,
Yes.
but I am just so scared. I think I'd rather be like a wobbly artist for the rest of my life, but who knows? I'm still young.
It's that's the thing. It's your choice. It's what you're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
That's the important thing.
But I also feel like it's like an option that I haven't really explored too much, just because on the basis that I just saw that and I was like, no, that's not for me, I'm scared.
That leaflet's going in the fire.
Yeah. But I don't want to scare people too much about like that procedure, because like evidently lots of people do get it done.
And it works for them as well. But again, everybody's different. Everyone's different.
If you have had that surgery done, would love to know the information down below. Feel free to maybe tag it with like scary details below, just for people who are scared of like scrolling past it in like the comments section.
Right. But I do love the support group that we're like forming in the comments. You guys have been so good to Steph and to each other. We're very proud of you.
I think that covers everything. Feel free to check out some of our other videos over here. And subscribe!
Yeah, sub too, that'd be great.
I would like to do some more disability content on this channel.
I think you guys would like that too. Let's support Steph opening up.